that button. Um, Anybody who's seeing this on a recording, I apologize. I forgot to hit the record button. So with a little catch up, we're just talking about Leads Team and some of the marketing efforts that we're putting forward now to generate more leads and more high quality leads. So back to the presentation, agency level promoted social media. So we are going to be going on a buying spend, and we're going to commit to at least $500 a month in budget to promoted posts and promoted videos. And to do that, and basically we're doing that to drive traffic back to our site for them to fill out a request for a consultation. So we're doing that even though no revenue is coming in right now. So that is, like I said, purely to drive higher quality leads. We're going to do that on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, possibly even LinkedIn, depends on time, really, to be honest with you. So look for agency level promoted social media posts coming forward in the next probably week or so. The second marketing effort we're going to engage in is email marketing campaign. So if you look on our website, on our homepage, about 3/4 of the way down, we have a lead magnet on there. So we're going to have, our front page is a landing page, but also the page that you click onto to get to that lead magnet is a landing page. So the lead magnet right now is a PDF document. Well, it's actually not a PDF document. It's a virtual book that you can download. It's like the 7 top things to remember when planning your vacation, or 7 mistakes to avoid making, or something like that. But anyway, it's a value proposition that we give to prospects that they can download, look at. But most importantly, they give us their email address so that we can then create a sales funnel to offer them emails of creating value towards planning their vacation, and then they can, and certainly every touch point has an offer for them to reach out to us for a consultation, ultimately getting the booking. So this is something new. What we're basically doing is going to capitalize on our increased web traffic. We're going to use this in a way with our social media boosts. We're going to, it's kind of a combination effort of some of these marketing tools. But again, on this one, we're looking at some new software that will help us develop a sales funnel. It'll be about, I think we're going to probably spend about $250 a month on that. Again, the only purpose is to generate Leads Team leads. Our third effort is in the area of website updates. And I'm not talking about content, but what I am talking about here is search engine optimization, or SEO, which the easiest way I can tell you is how a website is configured so that when somebody goes to Google and searches for something, it determines the ranking of your website compared to others. And so what we've been doing is working on that because we needed some work on that. So far to date, we have invested close to $10,000 on this project, and we are currently still spending about $1,500 a month, again, during this period where no income is coming in, but we're doing it because we see it as a long-term positive investment. So what we're doing is creating the search optimization issue. And so where we've been with it is, some of you who are already on Leads Team know that a lot of the leads that we've been getting, even though high in volume, have been not the highest quality lead. And so one of the reasons for that, we found out, was nothing that we did intentionally. It just organically happened. But we had somehow or other, we were getting very high traffic because of the simple word layaway. And what was happening with the word layaway was we were getting clients who were interested in layaway, economy, trying to stay at the Polynesian for a week for under $900, those types of clients. And so they weren't value clients. Most of them were price shoppers. And so what this investment is doing is we're working with an advisor on this area so that what we're trying to do is identify the highest searched terms as it relates to Disney and Disney vacations, and work to add those into our presence, therefore backing off on the layaway. And so as we're going through that process, we're writing, a lot of the articles we're writing that are going on our blog are intentional for this purpose. And so we're doing that, and we're doing a lot of other things. We're doing backlinks, all kinds of stuff to clean this up so that folks who start searching for things will find our site above and beyond other sites out there. So that's our investment in that. So we're hoping that we will move away from the layaway, but start creating higher quality hits and paying more attention to public searches and responding. So what we're looking for is what are those people searching for as it relates to Disney, and then coming back in on our end and trying to fill that need. So we're spending a lot of bucks on that. And again, higher the SEO, the higher the number of hits we get, the more time they're going to hit that contact us button on the front of the webpage, which goes straight to leads team. The other thing we're doing is we're going to be working with Danny to revitalize the I'm So Disney integration. He and I are going to get together when he gets back, and we are going to develop a more systemic approach to using I'm So Disney to benefit My Mickey Vacation Travel. We've kind of just let that slide unintentionally. It just has. I know some of you are working the page and forming relationships with folks to convert into bookings. But he and I are going to get together and talk about how we're going to be more intentional about some things. Again, those folks who are on that page, and I'm actually, either Karen or I are going to be more present on there as well on behalf of the agency. So anything, again, any type of quotes that come in from that relationship will also go straight to leads team. And so with that in mind, the one key factor about I'm So Disney is it is a Disney fan site. There's no question about it. It is the name of it says so. And so, you may end up with somebody, a random question on there about, what resort should I pick? But for the most part is, look at my Mickey waffles. What should I name my new dog? It sounds like a Disney character. Things like that. Look at my new Disney bounding dress and things like that. So it's more fandom stuff than it is planning. And so Danny and I kind of talked about that, and that works real well for I'm So Disney. But we also feel that from a marketing standpoint, we should align ourselves with a Facebook group that is really zoned in on marketing. And so what we really decided was there aren't any. And so if it doesn't exist, then we create it. So we are going to create a Disney planning Facebook group that is solely based on planning. We will have strict rules about that. We're going to have rules on how we use it for marketing purposes, but really it's an option to take advantage of the number of users we already have on our page, and obviously we can self-promote, but it will be a planning page. It'll be called Easy Disney, which is also already the name of our blog that we have on our website. So it's some cynicism or whatever that word is, a link to back to that. We also own the Easy Disney website name, but I'm probably not going to implement that. I think what we'll probably do is cross-reference. We'll still use any articles that we don't post that are planning specific on our blog that Danny might post. We'll probably still post like Dr. Disney posts on the planning Facebook group. So we'll still have that integration there, but this will be a planning group. We're going to capitalize on the fact that we have 29,000 people following our main Facebook page. So it will be a planning group and not a Disney fan site, and so that will be the primary differentiator. between us and I'm So Disney. And we will, as admins, be putting through a very heavy quote link presence on that page. So lots and lots of quote links will be showing up, forcing people, into, if you want to plan your vacation, this is what you need to do. And we will, of course, have marketing protocols and rules for dream designers to follow as that group gets up and running. But that, again, we're looking to spend, this isn't a money thing, but this is going to be a boatload of time. And so as we invest this time and we invest the money that you've seen previously, we're really dedicated to replacing all those layaway quote requests with high quality, very warm and engaged clients or prospects to come in. So what we're hoping for is basically out of this is a new attitude, particularly among those who have already, who are already part of Leads team. But really what we want is we want the Leads team request to be as equally as important as any request that you get on a personal level as a referral or a direct request. We had heard some comments at homecoming where it kind of made Leads team feel like the stepchild. And honestly, I get it, because it was, some of the leads have been kind of junky. And we're, like I said, I think you see our commitment to fix that. And it's been ongoing. So what we want is, we really want, we don't want, I'm going to work on my leads and then I'll work on Leads team. I want, everybody's attitude to be, these are as important as others. And so, and we're not going to really make any exceptions to that. If that's not a value that you are interested in bringing to the table, we're just going to ask you to not participate. So that in mind, we're kind of at the place where we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to join the Leads team and what are the qualifications to come in. And so the very first thing we're going to be demanding, and I said this earlier in the other group, and sorry for the bad word, but I really, and I don't do this very often, but I really intend on being a hard ass about this stuff because it's very important. So to join the Leads team, one of the qualifications has to be that you are very accurate in your MMVCS entries. That is, keep booking timely, reporting timely, proper information, getting your modifications in quickly, not coming to me 3 months later and saying I didn't get paid on this commission and then I find out you just entered it, stuff like that. So that is very important. And the second thing that's very important are your disclaimers have to be in good order, especially in a Leads team situation where you don't have a personal relationship with the guest. So those have to be in good order. And of course, what we're looking for is your personal continued intentional marketing. So we used to have a minimum requirement to participate in Leads team in terms of amount of sales. What we've done is we've reduced that. However, as we hand out leads, we will kind of take some of that into consideration. Primarily if we go back, and obviously since the middle of March, we all know what has been happening. But January and February were dynamite wave season months for us. They were our best 2 months ever as a company. And so as we go back and look, if you're in that bottom 5 percentile of bookings, we want to be sure that you are going to be with us for the long term, but also we're probably going to want to ask some questions as to why you're still in that 5% bottom bracket during the busiest season of the year for booking, because we're not really interested in using Leads team as a way to jumpstart or to float your business. We want this to be something that's an addendum to your business and a way for you to build on your existing business. So I hope that makes sense to you, but that's really kind of what we're looking for. All right, so the way we're going to distribute leads. the frequency of the leads are going to be determined by, obviously, the number of leads we receive in the home office. We don't get them, we can't send them. Right now, obviously, because we are in this time, our leads are down, but the ones that are coming in seem to be higher quality. And so, but right now, I think that will turn around the minute that we start hearing about a date, which was going to be tomorrow, then wasn't, then was, and now isn't. So it'll be soon, but that's why I'm so anxious about getting a date. I'm not anxious about getting a date to get in the parks. I'm anxious about getting a date so people will start being interested in booking again. Your frequency of leads will be proven by your closing rate on the leads. I'm going to express to you a little bit later a minimum closing rate, but if you're closing leads at 80%, you're going to get a lot of leads because, you know, we can count on you to close them. Obviously, the number of leads team members, if we had 3 members and we were getting a lot of leads, there'd be a lot of leads per person. But as we spread them out, you know, we have to float them amongst everybody. So we will do as good a job as we can to distribute them as equitably as possible. And then the other requirement is adherence to the leads team rules, which we're going to be talking about here a little bit later. When the leads come in, we do not pre-audit them as to qualifications. In other words, someone sends one in, says they want to travel next year, and that's all they tell us. That's just as good as somebody who says that they want to go specific dates and they want to stay at the Animal Kingdom Lodge and they want park hoppers and they want the dining plan. Because you never know what that opportunity is. You don't know what that guy was racing through when he filled out that quote form. And every one of these quotes should be met with a dream discovery process. And so you're going to dig into what they're really looking for as a vacation anyway. And so we're going to send every one of them out, no matter what they look like when you come in. We do not audit as to geography, although we will make a best effort. Like I mentioned earlier, if someone submits a quote and they're from Haystack, Texas, and we happen to have a agent who lives in Haystack, Texas, we'll match them up. But it's not unreasonable for you to get a client who might be 800 miles away from you, and you'll just need to work with them on a virtual basis. We never guarantee the amount of leads you'll get. And if someone puts on their lead sheet that they were referred by somebody, we will always make effort to research who that referral is. And so if Jenna Jackson is the referral, we're going to look up Jenna Jackson and see if she ever booked a vacation with us before and see who her agent was. We'll match them up. If not, we usually go to the workplace boards and scream out, you know, does anybody know Jenna Jackson? And if someone claims her, then we can have that conversation to find out if that's that right person. Because we always want to get the referrals to the right people. All right. So some of our key elements in terms of contacts and some of our requirements. We are going to require that you make contact with your leads within 2 hours of receipt. Contact time is important, and we're gonna. There's 4 things here. We're gonna dig into each of them individually. So, but the key elements related to leads team is we require a 2-hour contact time. The commission rate on all bookings is 40%, and that is basically in exchange for the fact that you had to do absolutely 0 to get that lead, and we are making a large investment at the agency level in both time and money to bring these leads to you. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. It's also a requirement that in MMVCS you follow up all your leads in the prospect system. So when someone fills out a quote online, they automatically go into the prospect system, and then when the quote is assigned to you, that lead will show up in the prospect system under your login. And there's a series of, correct me, Andrea, but I think it's like 9 and 10, well, almost like 12 or 13 different steps that we're going to
Yeah, it's 12, I think.
yeah, we're going to ask you to check off in the prospect system as you go. So the fact that we'll get into that. We're hoping that you'll, we're actually demanding that you complete that process as you go through the process with your client. Then the last rule we're going to have is a 30% conversion rate. And this is something I will be a hard ass about. This is something that's going to come to us not right away. It's something we're going to look at long term, but it is the goal that we want you to meet. That doesn't mean that if you get 3 leads, we expect you to close 1. And if you don't close 1 out of your first 3 leads, we're kicking you off. It's a long-term average, long-term rate that we're looking at. All right, so let's dig into these a little bit. So that 2-hour response time. So response time is key. So we're going to suggest that you contact them with an email or a phone call within 2 hours of receiving the request. And that email is going to be, hey, this is Wendy. Thank you for sending your, Jackie, there was no conversion rate before. It was an eyeball. So, but now we're actually putting a number on it. So we're going to ask you to contact with an email or phone call, and that would be, hi, I'm Wendy with My Mickey Vacation Travel. Thank you so much for sending this in. I know planning a Disney vacation can be overwhelming, and I'm here to help you through the process. Let's set up a time where we can talk or Zoom or Skype or whatever. So that's your first contact within 2 hours of receiving that request. If you want to designate that you have certain working hours to receive leads, that would be great. If you're a stay-at-home mom and your kids are in school and you want to receive leads between 9 and 3 and that's it, that's great. If you want to receive leads from 5 to 9 in the evening, that's great. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that window of what you're able to take on. But if you give us that window, you're committing to it. And so basically, though, if you have a day that comes up where you got to take a kid to the doctor, or you got to go to the school, or something's up, and you just are not going to meet your hours the next day, shoot us an email, and we'll remove you from that next day of receiving any leads. And that's real simple. But the last thing we want you to do is to take that day off, not let us know, and then we're sending you leads and they're not getting responded to because you're out. So that's not something that will work. The other thing is no partial hours, all in or all out. So if you tell us you're available from 8 to 8, but you've got a 3-hour window where you got to be out for the day, you're out for the day, period. This is already complicated enough. We're not going to be able to keep track of partial ins and outs for people. Andrea, do you want to mention a little bit about the importance of response time? I know you gave an example earlier.
Yeah, so the response time is absolutely crucial. And an example I used in the first meeting was we had a quote come in yesterday at 9:30 a.m. and I signed it at 9:33 a.m. and the person who received the lead clearly responded very quickly because she reported a booking for that client at 2 p.m. So the turnaround on that particular lead was not typical, but had she let that sit there all day, she may have reached out to somebody else and not got that booking. So that's why response time is really, really critical.
Absolutely. And so what we're asking for you to do is make that first contact within 2 hours, email or phone call, depending on the desired form of contact. You're going to be inviting that prospect to a consultation. And if for some reason they don't respond to that first contact within 2 hours, we're going to ask you to make a second contact within the next 24 hours. And if they don't respond to that, make a third contact within 2 days of that second contact. We're actually going to be putting on our leads team page. We're going to be creating some sample emails and sample text that you can use for each of these scenarios, so you don't have to create it. You can do your consultation via phone, Skype, Zoom. You know, we all have 1,000 new methods of communication in the last 15 weeks. But we want to make sure you're using that dream discovery process in your consultation. So if you've not been to a next step session where we really dive into this deep, let me know and we'll get some scheduled. I'm planning on scheduling some maybe for even late next week anyway. But if you've not attended one and really need to dive into this, let me know and we'll get you in one. Okay, so I mentioned the other requirement is to make sure you're reporting your sales and updating them properly in the MVCS prospect system. Again, this is where all the quotes are being held, and it gives you a nice tool for tracking where you are in the process of booking a client. So upon completion of any step of the process, you must update the prospect system, and I mean like immediately. So if you're working on a quote and you sent that email out, jump into prospect and report that you sent that email out. If they responded to you, jump in there and report that they responded to you. The reason why it's important is because we're time stamping this, and so we want to get a feel for what's the flow look like. So don't come back in and do it later. So don't come in at the end of the day and go through your quotes and start filling out the prospect system. You need to do it on the fly as you go. Like I said, they're time stamped. When you book the client, the prospect system, if you go in and search for the name and the the prospect comes up in a detail line, it actually gives you a button there where you can click. It's called Convert. It'll automatically add that client to MVCS as a client based on the information they provided when they filled out their quote. So there may be some missing pieces if they didn't give you a phone number or something like that. You may have to jump back in and modify it, but you don't have to sit there and rekey all that stuff back in. So we made that a little bit easier. And then, of course, when you record the sale under the marketing source, just choose lead team. That's a secondary aspect, but when you do that, the system will automatically calculate that 40% commission. All right, so that's it for that process of the turnaround time and the prospect system. So I want to dive deep now into this discussion on the commission levels and what that looks like. Again, all lead team bookings will be paid at a 40% commission, and that disparity is really just compensating the home office back for the time and financial investment we've made to be able to hand you good quality leads. If you have a client who comes to you from a leads team and they happen to be booking for them, their brother, their sister, their grandparents, and the next door neighbor's uncle's cousin, all in one big trip, they all count as leads team. So as long as they're on the same trip together, they're all leads team. So you need to flag them the same. They are not, that does not constitute a referral. Any ancillary commissionable purchases under a booking are also considered leads team, and this would be like scooter rentals, strollers, limos, insurance, things like that. And the reason we are doing that is because I'm working on some programming. I hope to have it done before we pick back up in busyness, but I'm working on the MVCS program to convert it so that we may have the Andrea Mayo vacation, and you key that in, Andrea Mayo vacation. But then under Andrea Mayo vacation, we have the Walt Disney World vacation, we have the Disney Cruise Line, we have the port stay, we have the Happy Limo rental, we have the travel insurance. You may have 5 or 6 elements under the Andrea vacation blanket. So it's gonna be like a big umbrella. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna treat that umbrella as a leads team. We're going to treat that umbrella as one disclaimer. We're going to treat that umbrella as, you know, I think it will simplify our lives a lot. But anyway, that's why I'm saying that we have to put all those under leads team. Now, this is the important part. Any future date repeats or referrals are paid at your prevailing commission rate. So if that client now comes on and starts talking to all their friends and they want to book vacations that aren't part of that same vacation, and they start referring people to you, those are all paid at your rate. Those are not leads team. And if that client wants to come back next year because you did such a great job and they rebook with you, that is not leads team. That is your contract rate. So really what we're basically asking you is to receive a 40% commission on the very first vacation. Anything that snowballs out from there is yours at your rate. And they do snowball. They do snowball. Somebody on the earlier rate said that her 2 best clients both came out off of leads team. Any questions on commission level stuff? Okay, I'm seeing some head shaking out of the 4 people that I can see. All right. Moving over to your responsibilities. So this is what we're going to be asking of you. Basically, when you respond to these, you're representing the marketing efforts of MMVT, not your own marketing efforts. So if you receive too many leads, let us know. Because people are contacting My Mickey Vacation Travel. They're not contacting you individually. So we want you to handle them with the level of care that we're asking you to. So if you're receiving too many, just let us know. We'll back off. We don't want any leads to be left unserviced. Again, if you cannot take leads during any portion of the day, email us the day before. And that email address is leadsteam@mymickeyvacation.com, and we'll have that in our white paper document for you. And I'm looking, my screen is updating slowly. I'm not sure if all yours are or not. Okay.
Jeff, there's a question on the chat.
Yeah.
About changing hours for the summer. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that that's not really something that's difficult for us to do. If you're going to change your hours, just let us know. But it's just what we're not looking for is changing hours 3 times a week or 4 times a month or something like that.
Right.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah, what we can't do is I'm available from 1 to 3 today. I'm available from 2 to 5 tomorrow. I'm available from 5 to 8 the next
right.
day. I'm not doing that.
That was Melissa. So yeah, I mean, if you need to change your hours for summer or anything like that, absolutely.
Yep.
I just don't want to have to keep tracking everybody by the day. That's not efficient. But, you know, we're here to give you opportunities. So if you need to change your hours, then most definitely we can do that.
Yep,
oh yeah.
Perfect.
Obviously. Yeah, definitely, Melissa.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right. What's next? Oh, we will perform secret shopper requests. And so basically what that means is, I know Melissa, right? I saw that. Ooh. So basically what that means is on occasion we may just create a fake quote and send it off to you just to test how soon you get it out to us and what your response is. We're not going to, however, waste your time by pursuing it as if we were somebody really looking for a vacation. We're not going to engage you in consultation and ask you a bazillion questions about, you know, how many snacks do I get and all that kind of stuff. Not doing that. But we will, like I said, just double check to make sure that you're following that 2-hour process. The other thing is we will have a quality control survey in place to go out to your guests after they return from their trip. Again, just making sure that we're doing leads properly and to a high standard, but we will share those results with you, good or bad. Compliance requirements. Let's see here. To remain active and in good standing, you must remake that initial contact within 2 hours of receipt. And this is where I'm going to be a hard ass on this, and I'm very sorry, but there will be a 3-strike rule. 3 strikes and you're out. And it's just not something we're going to tolerate. Okay? You will need to update MMVCS immediately after any change in the process. And again, there will be a 3-strike rule on that. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a 30% closing rate, and that is something we will look at eventually. It's obviously not something we're going to be calculating from the immediacy, but if we, you know, decide we're going to do an audit of the bookings and we see you've received 50 leads and have closed one of them, we're probably going to have some conversations. Okay. So how do you apply to be on leads list? You apply on MMDCS. Under the user tab, there is an invitation to join. If you are already on leads team, this is really important. If you're already on leads team, you need to go back in and re-register. I dumped the database this afternoon. So you must go back in and re-register. Mainly because there's a need to make sure that all the numbers, and because we're going to ask you, the number of leads you feel comfortable receiving and things like that. So we want to make sure that those are updated properly. So that is the entirety of my leads team presentation. So are there any, oh, and the other thing I want to mention is we do have a leads team special group on Workplace. And so as you come into the fold, we will get you on that group page, and we will work to make it more active so that we can share our experiences, what's happening, and kind of talk through whether we're seeing improvements in the quality, things like that. So, but anyway, any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Okay, so I can have like my summer hours, and then when school starts back up again, I can change over to like evening hours. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Whitney, is 2 hours from when we receive the email, not from when they send it incorrect. That is correct. So good question, because what we're looking for is obviously a quick turnaround. So, but we also have to be reasonable about that. So what we're going to work on from our end is that we will turn it around to you within 2 hours. Then we expect you to turn it back around in 2 hours. So at the max, it should be a 4-hour turnaround. And so that's in total. Now, during the day, we will probably be responding much faster than 2 hours. So if you're on that leads team during the day, if we have folks who want to work into the evening, we will still be monitoring the quotes throughout the evening. It may not be as fast as they are during the day, but we'll still get them out to you in the evenings. If it's a weekend or late night or something like that, we'll get them to you as soon as we can, but especially on a weekend. If you want to do them over the weekend, feel free. If you want to put that in your time slot, and we'll do our best to get them to you over the weekend promptly, that's fine. But if not, then we just ask that you do them very first thing Monday morning. So if you're like an afternoon or an evening shift, we probably won't give those weekend ones to you because we want them addressed no later than Monday morning. So that's kind of what we're thinking in terms of late night and weekend leads. And again, we can tweak that as we go. Are the leads more quality now, or will they be? Jackie, so we're starting to see quality leads now. We've already started pushing that layaway away. It's a process, and we're still going through the process. What I wish, well, there's a bazillion reasons why I wish we didn't have a pandemic. This is one of them, because we can't really assess because the number of leads have dropped so significantly. It appears that the leads that are coming in are better qualified. So it feels like that, but that could also just be a function of the people who are typically our layaway clients really aren't probably looking to travel anytime soon. So I don't know the answer to that, but we are definitely working towards it. As soon as we revamp ISD, get this Facebook group going, and those are going to be our first 2 initiatives that are going to roll out, and I'm hoping we can roll them out soon. Our plan was to roll them out by the end of this month, but now that Disney's, now that the local government here is talking about forcing them to announce a date, that may be sooner than later. But we're going to fill, the group has been created. We just need to fill it with some content so that as people come into it, they're not walking into an empty eggshell, wondering what the heck's going on here. So we're going to have some content in there already for folks. So those are going to be our first two moving points. And then the website is just constantly evolving. And then the email campaign is probably going to be third in that, because I'm still in the process of researching what software we're going to use. So that's a good question, but we're on the right track, but just, because COVID has just knocked down the number of leads we're receiving, I can't give you a scientific answer to that. Average number of leads company gets on a typical day. Andrea, can you kind of speak to that?
Hold on. Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry, I was reading an email in your inbox. So what was that last part?
How many leads are we getting on a typical day or week or whatever?
Okay. So pre-pandemic, we were getting 50 to 60 leads on a regular time. And during the wave, we were getting well over 100 leads a week. So, and we only have currently about 20 people on the leads team. So they get handed out, as best we can. Not everybody gets leads every week when they're slow, or every day, I mean, when they're slow. But, we do try to distribute them. I keep track of how many everybody gets every day. And, I try not to let it get to the point where there are ever any gaps on that chart. So everybody gets handed out leads as frequently as possible.
Yep.
But, like I said, it's, 50 to 60 leads during a regular week, more during the wave season.
And like I said, we may not see an increase in leads, but I'm hoping we do, especially as these groups ramp up. And especially as we start talking about, I think a couple things are coming up that are really going to push leads is obviously when they announce a date, and that's why we really want to get everybody on board now, and why we kind of pushed for this. And then of course when 2021 drops, that's going to be the next wave of quote requests that come in. Melissa, sign up for upcoming Next Steps class. Right now, send me a support ticket. If you guys have not been in Next Steps and want to take it, send me a support ticket on that, and I'll see what I can't do to maybe just do a special class for that group as opposed to announcing it company-wide. Any other questions? All right, if you are all in on those basic requirements, the 2-hour turnaround, updating prospects, the 40% commission, and continuing to promote and build your own business outside of leads, please jump on MMVCS and fill out the application to join Leads team. We would love to have you. And if this is just something that you are not decide that it's just not right for you, that's perfectly understandable and fine, and we understand, and that makes sense for your business model. So, but we do want to make it available, and like I said, we're committing a lot of resources to making it work, and it's our intention to make it work. So, anything else? Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, you're welcome. Feel free to shoot me a message or anything like that if you do come up with any questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you. Stay safe out there.
Bye. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.